McCoy looks like he wants to transfer from Texas, and we're going to talk about it after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time, and today we're going to talk about one Horace Bru McCoy, who is demonstrating just the unintended consequences of perhaps the transfer portal and what it means to be a highly coveted, highly valued recruit at any level in any sport, but specifically in college football. Now, the news here is it has finally come out in public that Bru McCoy is looking to transfer back to USC away from Texas. Now, this could mean a number of things, right? And sources that I spoke to, it says it's quite literally that Bru's just unhappy in Austin, Texas, which should tell you a lot about playing football in Austin, Texas. If you went running from USC, which is in your backyard, to Texas, and after a semester in Austin, you decide, you know, I'm going to chunk up the dues because I don't really like it here. And apparently it's not that he doesn't like his primary recruiter, wide receiver coach, Drew Maringer. It's quite simply he just wanted to go back home. Now, he's going to get drugged through the media and by most college football fans because, yo, man, make up your mind. Do you want to be at USC? Do you want to be at Texas? We saw this happen with Chris Steele, who wanted out of Florida for entirely different reasons, but you're getting to see how the moving and shaking of the transfer portal is shaking up college football in a way that a lot of people, frankly, just don't like. I'll bet some of them are watching this right now, and I get it. You're like, hey, man, you made a commitment. You signed on the dotted line. You serve out your time. And that's just the thing. Serve out your time like it's some sort of prison sentence. No. Go where you're going to be happy. Go where you're going to be valued. Talk to Dana Holgorsen at West Virginia when his contract was not going to be met. Talk to coaches who move around and get other jobs. You've heard me give that argument before, but in the case of Bru McCoy, the reason that we pay attention, the reason that we care, is because he's the number 9 overall recruit in the 2019 class and is a stud wide receiver, a 5-star wide receiver. He's also the kind of athlete where he got offered at Alabama not to play wide receiver, but to play outside linebacker. That is the kind of athlete Nick Saban thought that Bru McCoy was and is. Now, the reason that we got these yucks going on is because we saw Texas folks defend Bru McCoy transferring to Texas to the hill. They went up on that hill. They planted a flag and said, this is a good place to die. We want Bru McCoy at Texas. We think that athletes' rights are important, and we think the dude should be able to do what he wants to do. Matter of fact, we go even further because we got Tom Herman on record as having said, at the time of Bru McCoy transferring from USC to Texas, I applaud Bru McCoy and his courageousness to say, hey, this is not where my heart is. I'm going to do something to change that. Now, I wonder what Tom Herman is going to say as Bru McCoy is basically telling him to his face, depending on who you talk to, I want out. Now, this is also peculiar timing because it's around the Memorial Day weekend. School is well and truly out. And most of the coaches are either wrapping up the evaluation period or on vacation because that's kind of when they do this thing, right around the end of May into June. Then they start camps up. Oklahoma's going to have high school camps later this weekend. As a matter of fact, June 1, June 8 for their invitationals. And I think that all of this is perfect timing for Bru McCoy, so I really can't blame him for when he decided to let this out of the bag. But one, would he go back to USC and would they let him? I think so. I mean, I think they would love to have him no matter what the circumstances are or how he left. But he's also not out the door. There hasn't been anything that is officially in writing that says he's in the portal. But you can believe USC will be the first to know that he's in the transfer portal and that he's looking to go back home. And I understand that you're going to have an opinion about this one way or the other because you're either going, yeah, let the athletes do what they want to do. I mean, that worked out for Oklahoma and its softball team. Giselle Juarez went out of Arizona State, said, I want out. Patty Gasso picked up the phone and said, come to Oklahoma. She said, sure. And now you got a national champion caliber pitcher, once again, pitch for Oklahoma when the World Series starts in Thursday. Women's College World Series starts May 30th. So that'll be fun. But that's kind of my point in all of this, right? If it's going well for you, you're all for it. If it's going bad for you, you're not for it. And you can look at that for Oklahoma. Jalen Hurts wanting to transfer, that's good for Oklahoma. Derek Green wanting not to stay at Oklahoma, not good. Same thing with Jalen Robinson, Ron Tatum, KJ Daly. We can keep going, right? So I think that when this works in your favor, you're going to be for it. When it works against you, you're not going to be for it. I'm for the athletes doing what they want to do because I understand they don't really have a lot of bargaining power as it is. And I believe that they're really getting the real world consequences of all of this, despite what other people want to say. You know, Lincoln's beef was, hey, in the real world, you have to give 2 weeks notice. You have to come to me. You have to say, I don't want to be here. You have to say that you're going to give me 2 weeks to figure out what I'm going to do as an employer, and then bygones be bygones. Well, with Bru McCoy, you're about to see, if you haven't already, the reaction from both college football fans on Twitter, Facebook, and the like, but also the media, of which I am a part, and how we feel about this. And you're going to come up with some sort of conclusion as to how you feel about what we say about this. And you're thinking, go back to the way that it was. I don't like all the moving and shaking. I don't like the kids just doing what they want willy-nilly. That's called life. It's called being a human being. You know, I mean, we have that all the time. Divorce rate in the country is like 50% because people decide, you know what, this has run its course. I'm kind of done with it. Let's move on. And I think you're seeing that more often at the player level now that you have the transfer portal going back to October. But you saw it with coaches all the time at big-time levels. Matter of fact, the Toronto Raptors are in the NBA Finals playing against the Golden State Warriors with a first-year head coach who was hired after the Raptors fired the coach of the year in the NBA last year. They decided Dwayne Casey was no longer a good fit for them even as he won NBA Coach of the Year. Hello? You know, you're seeing Mike Budenholzer come into Milwaukee, change things up, and they were a 60-win team, and they were the favorite to be in the finals against the Warriors in this NBA Finals. So I'm not necessarily going to buy into you thinking or saying that this is irregular. It's life. It's just how it works. And if you don't like how it works, go find something else to do. But this is how it's working right now, and the NCAA is going to have to figure something out. Or not. I wish they would just leave it alone. Let it be something of a free market like it is. You got over 400 kids in the transfer portal in the Power 5, right? But a lot of them are going to stay in there because you're finding out when you leave a place, they don't really want you coming back, and they'll use that scholarship for somebody else unless you are a Bru McCoy, unless you are a Tavian Feaster, and so forth and so on. If you are highly valued, you're highly valued, and that's just how it is. So remember what your value is. Use all the leverage you can to get what you need to get and get where you want to be, and then make the best of it. I think the other part about this that I've kind of glossed over is Bru McCoy is perfectly fine sitting out his freshman year. That's what we've learned. I think if the waiver request would have been pushed through at Texas, perhaps we would, one, know about it, and two, he'd be playing next year because he's just that good. But if he goes back to USC, I believe the way that this works is it would be a true blue transfer. It wouldn't be him re-enrolling and being counted toward a signing class or whatnot. He'd just be a straight transfer and be told to sit out because your hardship move is no longer a hardship move. You can't say that you didn't feel bad about what was going on at USC because Cliff Kingsbury decided to leave and use that as your hardship again. You can't say that about what's going on at Texas. They're actually well and truly where they need to be. Tom Herman has put his staff together. His staff is holding together. He's not going anywhere. He believes that he's in a good place at Texas. They believe that they're back, even as we give them evidence that they're not. So I'm really interested to see what this looks like in 2020 for Bru McCoy because I feel like this time next year, we're going to be talking about that dude in an entirely different light as a guy catching passes from people that, you know, absolutely, positively can play football. Maybe it's JT. Maybe it's Bryce Young. But I think either way this is going to work out for Bru McCoy. It's just about how you feel about it today, here, and now. All right, that's it for me. Doses.